Okay, so the Gen Z job market is in an apocalyptic state. You now need 3 years of experience in any sort of entry position. So if you're Gen Z and you're in that position where you can't get hired, you're applying for absolutely everything and you're just not hearing anything back, don't worry, it's not you, it's not personal, it's just that the whole system is absolutely broken and it's failing. So in this video, I'm going to show you the reality that Gen Z are facing right now, why the old path is dead, and what a lot of Gen Zs are now doing, following a new path. So before we get going, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, drop us a comment, let us know what you're thinking. Let's crack on. So let's start with the reality that Gen Z is facing today. Well, I've spoken to a few people, and I can tell you that a lot of people that I've met who are, in their early 20s or late teens are really struggling to find a job. Okay. They are applying for absolutely everything that they see. They are trying everything. They're customizing their CVs to fit the job description, and they're still not making it through the initial interview period. And a lot of them are applying for entry level jobs. It's not as though they're applying for, senior manager of some sorts that needs 20 years of experience. A lot of these people are applying for entry level jobs, but apparently they still need 3 years of experience. Now, that doesn't sound very entry level to me. I mean, what happens to the days where you've come out of college, you're fresh, you've got no work experience whatsoever, and there is the jobs that required someone, at entry level, has got no experience. Okay, you're going to pay a minimum wage for a year or two. Absolutely fair enough. But those jobs don't seem to exist anymore. And I've also noticed a lot of companies, instead of actually looking for full-time hirers, they're actually looking at contractors instead. I mean, I might be completely wrong, but it just feels like a lot of companies don't want to invest in the young talent anymore. They'd rather just rent someone out and then discard them whenever they're finished with them. And then, of course, you've got AI, which is replacing, every job left, right, and center. It's a problem going forward. It's something that, governments are going to have to address at some stage. But, why hire a junior copywriter when you can just essentially use ChatGPT and generate just as good content in 5 minutes for free? Then I think you've got the one that really is soul destroying, the one that puts a lot of people off, makes them completely disheartened, which is you're perfectly qualified for the job. You fit every criteria on the job description, but you don't get a look in because there's 2,000 people applying for that position. Now, when you've got, so I mean, I've seen it before. A couple of years ago when I was looking for something else, I applied for several jobs, didn't hear back from anyone. Then I looked at it, how many people have actually applied for the jobs. Most of them were in between 1,000 and 2,000. Now, what are the chance of me landing that job? When there's other 2,000 other applicants, who potentially could be in front of me. I mean, that's a stressful situation to be in, because if you need to bring in an income and you're competing against 2,000 other people, I mean, what the hell's going on? So I've pretty much come to the conclusion that the old path is dead. For decades, the job market was built on one idea: to hire young talent, train them up, and then hopefully they'll stay there for their remainder of their career and make the company a load of money. That's now gone. Companies don't want to train anymore. They want instant output. They want maximum productivity. The market's changed. There's a lot more competition nowadays. They haven't got time to train people up. They want to bring someone in who can slot straight into that position and start producing or making the company money instantly. Okay, it's that competitive now, and that's not the fault of the companies. You can't blame them. Okay, they're in it to make profit. They're in it to stay alive and to grow. That's just how the market is nowadays. That's just the natural progression of it. I mean, it's hard for someone my age, even though they've got a huge amount of experience. But when you're 22 years old with no experience, you're competing against AI agents who work 24/7 and don't cost a penny. I mean, it's an unfair fight. And you've also got remote applicants from, say, somewhere in Asia or India or Pakistan who are willing to do the same work but for half the price. Because obviously they don't have, the cost of living is a lot cheaper over there than it is in the Western world. So you've got the threat of AI, and then you've got the threat of the remote workers overseas. And I know a lot of people's parents will turn around to them and say, "Oh, we're just going through a rubbish time at the moment. The economy is not doing well. It will pick up soon. You'll get something soon." But the thing is, I don't think it's going to change. I think it's only going to get worse. And I know that's not the news that you want to hear. Unfortunately, is probably the reality, and you probably know this if you're watching this video. So, what's the new path for Gen Z? If the old path is dead, what are a lot of them doing right now and being very successful at it? Well, a lot of them are starting their own business, and they're not building big businesses. They're building something relatively cheap because, let's face it, they probably don't have any money anyway at that age. They're building businesses that don't require any sort of capital or any sort of investors. And most of them are building them from their bedroom in their parents' house or in their parents' basement or something like that. They don't need a big warehouse and they don't need a big office. They just need a simple room with a laptop where they're either freelancing, building digital products, SaaS apps, no code platforms, they're anything to do with tech. These Gen Zs, they adapt to the situation and they end up thriving off it. And it's the first time in history that we're in a position where anyone can build a business with absolutely no money. They can do it in a weekend from a bedroom. And all you need is an idea, some courage, bit of consistency, and a laptop. So let's now look at why Gen Z is built for this new path. Well, firstly, you all grew up online. Okay, that's something you have over, the millennials and the baby boomers. It's you've been born into this internet world. That's all you know. So you know the technology, you know how to thrive in it, you know exactly, every social media platform. And let's face it, social media is so important in business nowadays. If you don't know what you're doing on social media, you're never going to make it. Fortunately for Gen Zs, they know pretty much every single platform. They know how to use it and they know how to capitalize off it. And secondly, you all understand trends. Okay. I've never seen a generation understand trends as well as the Gen Zs do. They know instantly when something becomes trendy. I mean, someone in, a millennial like myself, we're behind with the trends. We're always one step behind, but the Gen Zs are always on the ball straight away. They know exactly what's trending right now. They're capitalizing on it. They know it before anyone else, and a lot of you are making huge amounts of money because of it. And another thing I've noticed about Gen Zs is about how fast they learn. Now, I don't know whether that's because they have better education these days or they're just more intelligent generation than we were, but a lot of these, these 20, 22-year-olds or whatever are picking up skills within days. Something that would take my generation weeks or months to learn, they're picking up these things in days, and it's incredible to see. And I think probably YouTube and AI and online courses have got a big role to play in that. I mean, there's a whole list of other things I can think of why it's a good time to start a business, especially, in this day and age for a Gen Z. But I told myself before I started filming that I'm not going to waffle on in this video. I'd rather just try and keep people's attention and keep it short and sweet. So if this video has inspired you in any way to start your own business, if you've been applying for jobs, getting nowhere and getting really disheartened about it, just reassure yourself that it's not personal. You're not doing anything wrong. And just check out, go on, join X, go on social media and just see how many young entrepreneurs there are, how many young in their late teens, early 20s that are absolutely thriving, building their own businesses. And a lot of them will tell you that they've done it with no money and they've done it from their mum and dad's house. It's perfectly possible. You've just got to want it. I mean, you could literally start freelancing from the moment you finish watching this video. You might think to yourself, well, I don't specialize in anything. Well, you don't need to specialize in anything nowadays. You can just use AI. I mean, essentially you can start posting jobs for editing videos, use CapCut or Canva and, just offer your services out there for a cheap rate, try and build up a bit of a portfolio and then raise your prices after that. Or, build a SaaS or an app using no code platform like Lovable or Cursor. The beauty of the time that we live in now is that you don't have to be a genius. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can do this. I'm not Brain of Britain, like I've said multiple of my videos. I'm not particularly academic. I didn't do that well at school, but I'm doing this. I've built a SaaS from start to finish. It's something that it's a working product. I have several users already. Okay, it's not making me huge amounts of money yet. I do stress yet. I believe it will do because it's a great idea. But like I say, if I can do it, you can do it too. Okay, so I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you've got some value from it. Drop us a comment. I'd love to hear your story, what's happening with you. If you've got any questions, tell us about your struggles and trying to get a job, your business ideas, and love to hear them. Again, smash that like button. Click on the video above. It's about my how I now have designed my business to fit my lifestyle. Okay, so I haven't. I've dropped the whole working every hour of every day, trying to prevent myself from resenting my business. See how I've actually got organized and know what video that's going to be. So yeah, check that video out. It's a good one. Hasn't got a huge amount of love yet, but that's just how it goes. Check it out, and I shall see you all very soon.